Hello students, my name is Sanjana Kavatagi, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, AITM, Belgavi. Let us continue with the video lectures on computer organization. In the last videos, I have started with the model number 5, the basic processing unit. In that, we have studied some of the basic concepts and single bus organization, register transfers, and performing an arithmetic or logic operation. Okay, so these two concepts come under the various operations that have to be done in order to execute an instruction. So let me revise those one or more operations which have to be done in sequence or in some specified sequence. So we already know that an instruction can be executed by performing one or more of the some following steps, following operations you can say in some specified sequence. So what are those operations? Let me read out. First one is transfer a word of data from one processor register to another or to the ALU. Next is perform an arithmetic or logic operation and store the result in a processor register. Third step is fetch the contents of a given memory location and load them into a processor register. Fourth one is store a word of data from the processor register into a given memory location. Out of these four steps, we have studied two steps already in detail. First one is the register transfers and next is performing an arithmetic or logic operation. So in this video, I'll be explaining about fetching a word from the memory. Fetching a word from the memory. So to fetch a word of information from memory, the processor has to specify the address of the memory location where this information is stored. Okay, and it also should request a read operation because we want to fetching is nothing but reading the data from the memory. So in order to do that, we have to send a request line to read for a read operation. Okay, so this applies whether the information to be fetched represents an instruction in a program or the operand specified by an instruction. So as we all know that whenever we write a program, it will be stored in the memory. Okay, so if I want to execute that program, what I have to do, the program will be executed instruction by instruction. Okay, so assume I'm fetching first instruction. Okay, so what I am trying to say is fetching data from the memory. The data can be either instruction or the data required in order to execute that instruction. Okay, it may be instruction itself or any operands uh, that are used in the instruction are to be fetched. So it can be either data or it can be instruction itself. Okay, so the processor transfers the required address to the memory address register, that is MAR, whose output is connected to the address lines of the memory bus. Okay, so the output lines of MAR, that is memory address register, will be connected to the address lines of the memory bus. So at the same time, the processor uses the control lines of the memory bus to indicate that the read operation is needed. The read operation, how it will be identified? It will be identified using the control lines. Okay, so the processor will make use of the control lines of the memory bus to indicate that the read operation is required by the user. Okay, so when user or it may be processor. Okay, so when the requested data are received from the memory, that data will be stored into the MDR, that is memory data register, and from where they can be transferred to other registers in the processor. So MAR is used to store the address, okay, that we are going to access, and whatever data is read from that particular memory location, it will be stored in the memory data register, that is MDR. Again, from this MDR we can transfer that data into other registers in the processor. The connections for register MDR is illustrated in this figure. It is figure number 7.4 from the textbook. Okay, so basically it has four control signals. One is MDR in, second is MDR out. These two are the controls for the connection to the internal bus, okay, which is indicated just by MDR in and MDR out, that is to the internal bus. And we also have MDR in E and MDR out E. These are the control lines of the connection to the external bus. E indicates external bus here. Okay, so the circuit that is shown in the figure 7.3 from the textbook, that can be easily modified to provide the additional connections, because there we have used only the internal bus. If we try to modify that, then we can provide the additional connections that are to the external bus. So a 3-input multiplexer can be used. 3-input multiplexer can be used with a memory bus data line that is connected to the third input. Okay, so since there are 3 inputs, then we have to make use of the 3-input multiplexer. Okay, so this input is selected when MDR in E is equal to 1. So this particular input will be selected when MDR in E, that is MDR in of external bus, is set to 1. Okay, next, second tri-stage gate that is controlled by MDR out E, that is MDR out of external bus, can be used to connect the output of the flip-flop to the memory bus. Okay, so that output can be connected to the memory bus using MDR out E. Okay, that is done with the help of a tri-stage gate. Okay, so during memory read and write operations, the timing of internal processor operations must be coordinated with the response of the addressed device on the memory bus. So the processor completes one internal data transfer in one clock cycle, and the speed of the operation of the addressed device on the other hand varies with the device. It depends on the device. Okay, so the speed of the operations of the addressed device means which device we are addressing, that depends on the device. Okay, and we also know that modern processors include some cache memory on the same chip as the processor. So typically the cache will respond to memory read request in one clock cycle, but however when a cache miss occurs, the request is forwarded to the main memory, and then this will introduce a delay of several clock cycles, because there will be many other operations running in the main memory. Okay, so this cache miss, it will be when it is transferred to main memory, it will cause some clock cycles delay. Okay, so a read or write request may also be intended for a register in a memory mapped IO device. Okay, so such IO registers will not be cached, so their accesses always take a number of clock cycles usually. To accommodate the variability in response time, the processor has to wait until it receives an indication that the request read operation has been completed from the device. Okay, so we shall assume that a control signal called memory function completed, that is MFC, is used for this purpose, that is to indicate that memory read operation has completed. That is called as memory function completed. Okay, the addressed device sets this signal to 1, just to indicate that the contents of the specified location have been read, and it is they're also available on the data lines of the memory bus. That means I've read the contents of that particular memory location, and this data is available to be used. Okay, so whenever I complete the reading operation on that particular memory location, I have to set that memory function completed signal to 1. Okay, so let us take up one example, that is example of a read operation. Consider the instruction move R1 into brackets comma R2. So the number of operations or the actions that are needed to execute this instruction are as follows. First is contents of R1 will be moved to MAR. Okay, so start a read operation on the memory bus, wait for the MFC response from the memory, then load MDR from the memory bus, then contents of MDR will be sent to R2 or will be moved to R2. Now let me explain these steps in detail. These actions may be carried out as separate steps, but some steps can be combined into a single step. Okay, so each action can be completed in one clock cycle except for the step 3, which requires one or more clock cycles. But 2, that depends on the speed of the addressed device. Okay, that's why it may or may not require more number of clock cycles. Okay, for understanding purpose, let us assume that the output of MAR is enabled all the time. Okay, thus which means that the contents of MAR are always available on the address lines of the memory bus. Okay, so it indicates, so this can happen only when the processor will be the bus master. In that case, we can use the contents of MAR all the time, which means the contents or whatever is stored in MAR is already available on the address lines of the memory bus. So when a new bus is loaded into MAR, it will appear on the memory bus at the beginning of the next clock cycle, which is shown in the figure 7.5. It is a timing diagram for a memory read operation. Okay, so when a new address is loaded into MAR, it will appear on the memory bus at the beginning of the next clock cycle. Okay, then a read control signal is activated at the same time MAR is loaded. So whenever MAR is loaded, read control signal will be activated or generated. So this signal will cause the bus interface circuit to send a read command, that is MR, memory read. Okay, on the bus it will send a read command MR on the bus. So with this type of arrangement, we have combined actions 1 and 2, which are given in the above steps, into a single control step. Okay, and also action 3 and 4 can be combined by activating the control signal MDR in E, again which is connected to the external bus. So MDR in E, while also waiting for a response from the memory. We can also generate MDR in E signal while waiting for a response from the memory. Okay, so thus the data received from the memory are loaded into MDR at the end of the clock cycle, in which the MFC signal is received. Okay, that is memory function completed signal is received. So in the next clock cycle, MDR out will be activated. MDR out will be activated to transfer the data to register R2. So this means that the memory read operation requires only 3 steps, because we have combined first 2 steps and last 2 steps. Okay, so after combining you can write the steps as which are described again by the signals which are being activated. We can write these steps as follows. First step is R1 out, comma MAR in, comma read, and then MDR in E, comma WMFC. Okay. Next is MDR out, comma R2N. So this WMFC is nothing but it is a control signal that causes the processor control circuitry to wait for the arrival of the MFC signal. So once the read operation is completed, MFC signal is generated. So before that MFC signal is received by the processor, it will be in a state something called as wait for memory function complete signal. Okay, it will be in the waiting state. It will wait for the arrival of the MFC signal. So this is about how a word is fetched from the memory. Thank you for watching.